Welcome, I'm Force Nature and this is Top Tier Tips. In this session, I'm bringing to you an advanced guide for Hitomi in Dead or Alive 6. This guide will presume that you've already watched my novice guide for Hitomi in Dead or Alive 6. If you haven't watched it yet, then what the hell are you doing? Go to that video right now, click on it, watch it, then come back here. Don't worry, I can wait. Finished? Good. Like I just said, this guide presumes that you've already watched the Dead or Alive 6 Hitomi Novice Guide. And also, I apologize if I end up reiterating anything from that guide, because if I end up repeating anything from that guide, it's probably important for Hitomi. Hitomi's a great character in Dead or Alive 6. The reason why I say that is that she has a really good balance between offense and defense, in the sense of that she has strong, kind of keep out options and stuff like that. And also, when you need to get your offense going, then she has pretty good mix-up options, good options for pressure, crushing, keeping the opponent on the defensive. She's really excels at that kind of stuff. For instance, in general, what I want you to do with Hitomi is take advantage of her strong neutral game. So that even means using stuff like 3K, 6H plus K for poking. You can even just use your jab strings, or anytime the opponent whiffs anything, to smack him with 236P or, for instance, 46P. So when you're with your strong neutral game, and you also have a 2HSK low poke, when you get any chance to get your offense going, then what you can do is that when you get in, then you can try and sneak in 6T, sneak in jab jab, 6BK, 6K, 6K, which is the same as 6BK, so 6BK, so lots of good pokes in there. If you want a good high crush poke, for instance, you have 1 P plus K, and to get frame advantage, you have your 2H plus K. Basically, think of it this way. When you're at long range, Hitomi is essentially this wall of pain that the opponent preferably doesn't want to deal with or anything like that. Where in close range, straight up, Hitomi is a bully. Before I go on, I want to thank Smart Esports and Trollcoin for endorsing this video. And as always, if you like this video, smash that like button. If you didn't like this video, just hit the like button anyway, and don't forget to subscribe for more juicy fighting game content. I also want to take this moment to thank my premium top tier fighters for their continued support, which I do appreciate. If you'd like to become a premium top tier fighter yourself, click on the Patreon link down below. Alright folks, we're in training mode, so you know the drill. Just go to fight screen info, display skill info, and boom, best box. Okay, let's just take a recap of Hitomi's strike speed. So she got a 10 frame jab, 12 frame elbow or 6B, 13 frame 6K, and a 14 frame 2P. So those are solid in close speeds. It's not necessarily the fastest speeds or anything, but those are very solid strike speeds in close. With those strike speeds, the only thing that you really have to worry about is a 9 frame jab or a 11 frame elbow. And of course, Hitomi has a tool for dealing with that, her high block or high parry, which I'll go over a little later. So yeah, Hitomi's good in close range. Do you know what is particularly good with Hitomi? Is her strings, whether it be, for instance, her string cancels or free cancels, or her delays. So what that basically means is that, for instance, the opponent has to respect the fact that you can end up just stopping a string early. You can also combine that with delays also. In close range, you're generally going to be leading with your jab string. So that means your 5P, whether it be PP, P6P, so anything like that. Your go-to string from your jab string will be PP2K. Alright, this string right here does have a couple follow-ups, so PP2K, 2K, or PP2K, K. So the opponent does generally have to respect the fact that you can just keep sweeping the leg. So that's why you can usually get away by using this as kind of a low check. It's very similar, just simply doing a 2K. Same enders off it, for instance. Other moves that you can use off there is, for instance, PP6KK. Right there, as you saw, it also has a third hit. But in general, you're just going to be doing this. This is 3KK. It is quite delayable, so it is a pretty nice string in it. I also think the 3KK jails if you don't delay it at all. So that is a good kind of high mid string. Another high mid string that you can use is P6P P plus K. So right there. With this string in general actually is pretty good also for fishing for a stun. For instance, if you do P6PP, right here you get a juicy plus 36 nosebleed stun, which is like really good. You can easily like follow it with like a fatal stun or anything like that. So, but the main thing, this is also the same as like 9PP. So this string is really good when fishing for a stun. P6P also jails on normal hits, so yeah, the opponent can't hold if you just do that, even though you leave yourself at negative on normal hit. But yeah, with the P6P P plus K string, you can either have a low ender, which can allow for a couple like potential ground hits on force tech opportunities, or you have a fairly powerful guard break mid punch at the end. PPK causes a really strong stumble stun on normal hit. You can easily follow up with 4-6P after it connects. If you want a couple block strings to Hitomi, you can just simply do PPP. Alright, right here is the uncharged version. It leaves you at -8, which is technically unsafe. So what you want to do is do the PP, then hold P in right there, and you get a +8 guard break. But like most of Hitomi's mid-punch guard breaks, it basically is kind of highly telegraphed because you have to charge it, and if you don't charge it, you leave yourself unsafe, so that can be a bit of a concern. So if you want kind of a safe block string that you can use PP for PP. And right there, and then the same thing, you can have the mid-punch ender. If you don't charge it, of course, you leave yourself -8. If you charge it, you leave yourself at +4. The thing about this string is you have an alternative safe ender right there with PP4, PPK. So now the opponent has to look up for either the high kick or the mid-punch ender, for instance. PP6P is also a pretty good string. See, it's mostly composed of highs. So if you do that, you can, so that basically you do enders like PP6PK right here. That's the same move as 236K, which has like a tremendous amount of range. For instance, like almost 3 meters. So yeah, you can end up like doing that, and you leave yourself safe, and just do like a little like fuzzy guard afterward with 33H. The main thing also about this string is that it can actually kind of branch off into different directions. For instance, you can do PP6PP. So the main thing about this is it's a very highly delayable launcher string. So the opponent does have to, like, no matter how negative this move may appear, the opponent has to respect the fact that they don't want to get launched by that. So it's also like pretty good. You can also end up doing a low kick after PP6P 2K. So I mean, there's like a bunch of like different versions you can do. So you have like a high ender, a mid punch ender, and a low ender. So it is a pretty nifty string. Hitomi's 6P is good. See right here, it's this 12 frame karate chop on the opponent. Alright, there are numerous things you could do out of this string, just like the 5P string. For instance, you can do stuff like 6PP. So right here, so it's basically a mid-high string, so it goes mid, then track and high. It does have a decent ender in 6PP, where you just smack the opponent in the face right there. I like this one because it can end up, for opponents that want to retaliate right away after 6PP, then you can just punch them in the face. Like so, and it leaves you safe at -3. So again, you can just do like a little fuzzy guard, or even like try and a barre if you're frisky like that. So yeah, so I like 6PP, 6P. There's also a mid-punch ender in 6PP. Right there, it leaves you at -10, so it is unsafe, but it's -10 and unsafe, but only gives you a +16 stun. So with like a +16 stun, you can't really, do like much with it. They could try and follow up with like 3K, but you'll have to like do it right away. So under most circumstances, you're just gonna be doing 6PP, and you can like delay it or just do it fast, or even just do like 6P. But I mean, like I said, there's numerous stuff you can do with 6P. So another thing that's good out of 6P is 6PK. So even just doing normal 6PK is okay. What you do after 6PK is you can end up having a delayable high follow-up, or you could just simply do it like straight through. So different delays, you can just like free cancel. It's a good string like that. You can also do 6PK 2K right here. So just like 6K, if the knee hits, then the low sweep will always knock down. The opponent has to basically have the low hold in order to stop you. So after you knock the opponent down, like I showed you earlier, you can like go for like a little force tech after that. This 6K is your knee is your go-to, it's your go-to normal hit stun. Leaves you at +16, so you can like follow up with like a 6P after that. You can also follow up with 3K, but with the way how frames work in Dead or Alive, you have to add like 2 frames in order to like connect something. So with plus 16, you can follow up with up to plus 14, but you have to basically do the 3K right away. So generally, you're gonna be end up doing like the 6P afterwards, and of course you can also jab. So basically, after this stun, under most circumstances, it's gonna be like a 50-50 between doing a 6P or like a PP, or of course. You could do like P6PP or 9PP right there. Then you get your good stun. I mean, that's basically what the opponent's not going to want to get hit with, is that big stun. So essentially you can probably end up hitting the chop bit more freely. And plus 20 is still also pretty good frame advantage. Like I just showed you earlier, 6KK is good. 6K, 2K is good. So, I mean, even just doing like a raw knee is okay. But generally what you're going to do in trying to condition the opponent to kind of keep blocking is to basically use this move. Alright, so essentially, after you use 6K, what the opponent's going to generally want to do is essentially crouch under. So that's why you can just do, like, that's why you occasionally can get away with, like, 6K free cancels. Because to condition the opponent to block or crouch, that's what 6KK is for. I mean, obviously, in order to deal with either the high or the... In order to do with the high or the mid, then, of course, a crouch or crouch block will stop that. So then that's why you can end up kind of trying to sneak in free cancels with like either doing like 6K, 6K, or 6K, 6P for instance. Hitomi's 3K string is a good string. Let's see, the follow-ups after it are highs like 3KK or 3KP. But the nice thing about like 3KK is this move actually jails better than 6KK does. Like 6KK, I think there's a very small window where the opponent can hold it even if you like don't delay it. Where 3KK like fully jails, where you can just do this and the opponent just has to basically block it. There is a third follow-up after it, which is also a high and unsafe. It tracks. So under most circumstances, just do 3KK and you'll be fine if you are going to be using 3KK for like a jail string. But the string I actually prefer out of 3K is anything off of 3KP, because 3KP just simply has more follow-ups. For instance, you can use 3KP 2K as like as your low check. See, has a double low potential also. You also have 3KP 6KK, which is basically this is the same as like PP 2K or PP 6K. So it's like basically like the same string. But a nice thing that you can actually do out of the 3K string is 3KP 4PPK. So like Hitomi's 4P string is good in general, and you can access it out of the 3KP string. So again, you can have the guard break ender if you charge it, or the high ender right there. So use the high ender if you want a quick ender, and if you think the opponent's to stay blocking, then that's when you end up going for... That's when you end up going for the guard break, for instance. Hitomi's 6XP string is also good. Right here, the 6XP in itself is a 12 frame. It's a 12 frame high, so it's reasonably fast, like a normal jab or like a 7P. So with like with 6XP, you basically have like a high, mid, low ender. I think I might have also showed this that you can access it also off of the 3K string, so you get the same thing. So there's like 6XP K, for instance, so that's your high ender. Showed you earlier that it is safe on block, so it's good. You have your mid punch ender, so the delayable 6P right there, so that's a good dangerous string. And then you have your low option right here in 6P 2K right here. So essentially anything with Hitomi's low sweeps are just good. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have the hugest amount of frame advantage, but the fact that it's frame advantage at all, and it's hard to react to it 19 frames, just makes any variant of that move just really good, and 6XP 2K is no exception. 6XK is also pretty good from like around the edge of like close to mid-range. So you have 6XP and then 6XK, which goes like a bit further. Alright, if you hit it on normal hit, you end up getting on plus 11. Unfortunately, it's not enough frame advantage to connect your jab, because you would need at least plus 12 to be able to connect it. You have a couple follow-ups after, 6XK. So 6X KKK. There's also like 6XKK P, and you get a launcher. And there's also 6XK 2K. Alright, so after just doing a 6XK, the two direct follow-ups after that is either a high or a low. So if the opponent blocks this, then they're generally going to probably end up like crouch block and after it. So sometimes you end up just simply going for 6-6K. This move is particularly good if the opponent whiffs like something. Let's say they whiff something with like somewhat short range, or they just simply whiff. Then you can use this move as a bit of an approach move on your opponent when they give you like some sort of advantage or opportunity. Like if they're kind of whipping anything, then just smack them with your your flying knee right here. So to keep the opponent on their toes, that's where 6-6K, 2K comes in handy to make sure that they watch their ankles. If you end up scoring a hit, then just simply going for 6-6KKK or 6-6KKP right here. So this is the same highly delayable launcher 6-6PP. 9P is a really dangerous move with Hitomi. It's a 15 frame hide. It gives you a plus 33 lift stun. With plus 33, you can basically just do whatever you want. You can easily fall with like a fatal stun of your choice. You can kind of like launch the opponent right away. So essentially with plus 33, and of course you can follow up with like your go-to counter hit lift stun, which is 3P, which is, I know that's the go-to lift stun for most characters. So and Hitomi's 3PP is also like pretty good, or just 3P in general. But yeah, sticking with 9P, this move is similar to the same usage as like 7PP right here. So it's your go-to high lift stun move. Like 7PP is a 2-hit move, where 9P is just a single hit move. Another thing that's also nice about 9P is that with 9PK, you pretty much just you can launch the opponent right away. With 9PKK, you can just ground them right away. So either move is either thing that you do with like 9, or not, just the way I use 9P is personally fine. Of course, the best thing is just go for like basically just go for a lift stun, go for a launcher. Either is fine, but I will let you know that 9P is minus 10 on block, so it is unsafe. 9PK, 9PKK, like all of them are all unsafe on block, so you have to watch out for that. Whereas 7PP, for instance, is safe, but there is a small window for the opponent to try and hold the second hit. Hitomi's tracking moves are great. Of course, the tracking moves that you're going to be using is going to be based on your range. For instance, in close range, you're going to be smacking the opponent with Hitomi's 8P. Like, this is a good string in itself, so it has like a couple follow-ups, 8PP right there, and in a mid-punch, an 8PP K, or 8PP 2K, so you end up with that low kick, and 8PP K, so you have a mid-kick. So right there, so you can have either a mid-follow-up, mid-ender, or a low-ender, for instance. Other good tracking moves in close is 1P. So this move is also a godlike high crush move right here. So it's 15 frame tracking low. It is negative on normal hit, but this move is almost kind of like Hitomi's stop sign in close range, well, along with their 2P, of course. But this move is just 1 frame slower than their 2P, and it's just like, it's just godlike. It's just really good. Alright, for other tracking moves, so when you're a little further out, 6H plus K is great. So let's see, it gives you a decent enough stun, but it also does have, well, a couple follow-ups. For instance, it's minus 2 on block, so it's safe in itself, so you don't even have to do the follow-up. So the fact that you have follow-ups is a bonus. So you have a high follow-up, leaves you safe at minus 5, or a low follow-up right there, which is 2H plus K, 2K. So basically, I mean, in the top off, they're also highly delayable, so this move is just like really good. 6H plus K. And now for another tracking move that you'd use, also even again from around the same-ish range, like around like kind of like close to mid-range, is 4P. Alright, on paper this move looks bad. It's like a 19 frame move that is like negative on block. However, with this move, it does, again, I think I might have showed you, it has like a couple follow-ups, like 4PP, 4PPK right there, leaves you minus 5, 4PP. P has that guard break right here. Like, this move is such a good tracking move, and essentially you can also, the thing about these moves like 6H plus K, 4P, you can even use these like neutral tools too if you'd like. Alright, be careful though that they are a little slow at 18 and 19 frames, but these moves are just really good at keeping the opponent from like wanting to the sidestep on you. Other good tracking moves can include 1P plus K right here. This is also a good high crush. This is basically your go-to high crush mid right here. It leaves you plus 19, has a couple follow-ups in 1P plus K 2K and 1P plus KP. So this move is both a good tracking move and good high crush. Let's see, so other good tracking moves, you have 4K or 4KK. So that move launches on normal hit. When it's blocked, it leaves you safe, minus 4. So right here is so 4KK is a good move. And of course, another like nice go-to move with Hitomi is basically just sweep the leg. 2H plus K right here. Use this move just to annoy the hell out of the opponent anytime when you're on the offense. So it's +2 on normal hit, which is enough frames to be able to enforce your jab or your elbow, or even like a 2P, so, or a 6K to a lesser extent. So yeah, I mean, +2 is like okay, or +3 if you can do it like a little further out. But yeah, this is just a really great tracking move. At 19 frames, it's hard to react to, so yeah, this move's great. And of course, another good tracking move with Hitomi is just simply your H plus K, her get out of your kick. Right here, so it's 17 frames, it's reasonably safe, yeah, -5 on block. So it's just basically the same move as 4PPK right here, so I mean, it's got decent range. You can like check it goes over 2 meters, so about 2.13 meters, so at 17 frames, yeah, it's not really reactable, so anytime you're thinking that the opponent might be like stepping or anything, then you can just like use this move to just tell the opponent, just get out of here. Hitomi's low crushes and high crushes are great. Let's see, for instance, 1P is great, 1P plus K is great, so right there, so you have your go-to low high crush, your go-to mid high crush, and let's see, your go-to high crush. Alright, I think 9P might be able to high crush, but even then, 1P plus K, both like really good. I mean, along with 2P, of course. Other high crushes can include 3P, your go-to lift stun on counter hit. So you got your safe high punch ender or your tracking mid kick ender. So 3P always a good move. All right, your go-to high crush launcher is 3PP or down forward P. This is also your, well, essentially Hitomi's strongest launcher. As you see, you can launch on normal hit, and it's a good one to use after a fatal stun. So 3P is both a good high crush and a good launcher in general. If I'm not mistaken, I think it might even have a window where it might be able to go under some horizontal mids. As for low crushes, 3H plus K is a good move. As you see right here, it's semi-safe on block at -7. When it smacks the opponent, it just grounds them immediately all the time. It's reasonably fast at 22 frames, which is pretty good. So with this move though, yeah, you can end up like basically get a nice hard knockdown after that, so the opponent like can't like tech roll or anything. The nice thing also about this move is that it both low crushes and high crushes, because it leaves Hitomi in a crushing state on the second half of the animation. This move effectively avoids both lows and highs at some point during the animation. Hitomi's 9K hop kick is also naturally a great low crush, and it's particularly great against low wake up kicks. Other great low crushes can include Hitomi's 6K string. Her 8H plus K move is also her. It's both a great low crush and her go-to fatal stun. And from a bit of a distance, like on an opponent's wake up, when you have a bit of an advantage over the opponent, then you could try to sneak in 6H plus K. So this move causes a bounce launcher off of on normal hit, and if it gets blocked, it leaves you at +3. In fact, let's take a look at Hitomi's guard breaks right now. Alright, Hitomi's guard break game is pretty decent, except I'll let you know that every single guard break of hers is essentially a mid. For instance, even something as simple as PP right there, so you get your +8. So Hitomi has a ton of those. Those are chargeable mid-punch guard breaks. They're at the end of a lot of strings. Like so. I mean, like there's at least like 5 of them. Right there, so I mean, like the frame advantages have gone from like +3 to +8. Alright, the only guard breaking thing that Hitomi has that's not a mid punch is her 6H plus K. It's right here, so it's a 37 frame move. So yeah, if you end up like just doing this in general neutral, then yeah, then it's incredibly telegraphed, and the opponent can just like sidestep it or even kind of like intercept you with like a K or something like that. So this move is mainly intended to be used as kind of like a meaty, maybe occasionally on the opponent's wake up. So I bet the +3 frame advantage is nice. A great guard break with Hitomi is her 4P plus K. Alright, this move essentially complements her good attack range or neutral attack range in general. So you can use this from like either mid range or, well, you can even use it from close range. Again, whenever you have like a considerable kind of advantage over your opponent, then you can usually sneak this in pretty easily. So if you do the uncharged 32 frame version, you leave yourself at +6. So that's just simply just frame advantage and just an opportunity to try and keep up pressure afterwards. Again, I mean, the usual like jab or like your 6 PK or 6 PP, or just simply doing like a 6K or 3K, like any of that kind of stuff is fine. But if you were to fully charge it, so right here, the 47 frame version, you leave yourself at plus 24. With plus 24, that means like a free lift stun, or basically like a free stun of your choice. I will give you a warning that essentially all of her launchers unfortunately don't quite reach. So even if you do like a little dash up, I mean the only one that can hit right there is 7K, but you have to basically do like a really micro dash, or it will either whiff or get blocked easily. So I do recommend just simply going for the lift stun. Just take the easy stun. However, keep note that 4 People's K is incredibly dangerous if you have the opponent cornered. That's a free wall slam. Also, you don't even have to go for the wall slam. You can just simply keep the opponent at the wall and take the free stun, because really the opponent does not want to be in this position. And another tidbit with regards to close range combat, Hitomi's PK, or her jab kick, is a good, well, PK check on the opponent's block. Alright, on paper it's minus 12, but the thing with regards to Hitomi's K, or her 14 frame kick right here, alright, you could use this move to kind of like knock the opponent away. You can wall slam, like I said, it's just 14 frames, gives you like frame advantage. But the thing is that with KK, the opponent has to both respect KK, but they also have to respect K2K right here. So it gives you plus 8 when it ends up connected on the opponent. But the thing about this is that this move is very delayable. This is the same with PK 2K. If this move were to get blocked, then it just leaves you at minus 7. So even if you just do this, you're semi-safe on block, and you can just do like a fuzzy guard right after this. So the kind of negative frames of just doing a raw K or PK doesn't really matter as much. Mid-range is where Hitomi likes to be. She is strong from mid-range. For instance, her 6H plus K, her forward guard plus kick is a good move. 3K is a good move. Let's see, so this is like a couple great makers. I already showed you like 3KK, 3KP, so I mean both of those are great pokes that you can end up using from mid-range. Of course, when you can get in, you can use like this 66K or 66PP are both fine. Other moves you can use is that if you'd like a low poke, you got 1K. Alright, it's negative on normal hit like most lows usually are. But you have a few follow-ups. So you have like 1K 6P, which has this very similar follow-ups to like 6XP. So if I were to show, for instance, you have like a low follow-up, and you have a mid-punch follow-up. You do not have the launcher off of 66PP, so unfortunately you just have to settle for the mid-punch. You also have stuff like, let's see, 1KK. Alright, so low kick, mid-kick right there. And you have this move right here, which is very similar to 33P, but is not a launcher. Well, I mean, or it's not a launcher or normal hit. See, it launches on counter hit, so it's a very similar move. So this is generally the move the opponent does not want to get hit by. So on normal hit, it gives you a plus 29 lift stun. I mean, yeah, if any of these moves get blocked, then yeah, you'll leave yourself at a punishable negative. See, like right there, minus 10. Just if you end up doing the high, alright, right there you're safe, but it's a high, so the opponent can crouch under it. But of course, the opponent's not going to want to crouch because there's a couple mids that you can do, and one PK in particular can be particularly delayable. For mid-range, your high crush will be 1 People's K. See, I mean, I already showed you in the last sections just how like good this move is. Tracking. It's a high crush. It's got a chargeable punch follow-up. Right there, it allows for like a juggle after or a low fall right there. So basically, 1 People's K is just a great move. It's got pretty good range also. So this move, there's not really that many downsides to it. And if you want a low crush move to use from mid-range, so jumping over lows, 3H plus K is great. I mean, it's a relatively fast move. I already told you can both low crush and kind of high crush at different versions. It's safe on block at -7. Even if you do it like a bit further out, it's almost always, yeah, it's pretty much almost always -7. If you can somehow get the absolute tip, you might get -6, but it's usually just -7, so it's usually semi-safe on block. Although I think it's in a bit of a squatting stance, so the opponent can try and low throw you. But if you can do it like from a little further out, so basically you can't quite frankly spam the move, but you can still use it relatively freely. And your go-to tracking moves from mid-range, of course, will include 6H plus K. I mean, this move right here is just great. It's just great in general. The main thing about this move is that it's really good at controlling space. I mean, it's safe on block, got delayable follow-up, so it's like So anytime you want to basically control the range at mid-range, essentially the opponents can't step you, you can't crouch you, so like this move is really good. It's a nice complement to 3K right here. So this move is 14 frames, but it doesn't track, but it does of course have string follow-ups. But with going back to 6H plus K, I mean, just anytime you're around anytime you're out around like 2 meters out, this move is just like there's like no downside to just chucking this out on the opponent's block or anything. And again, the big thing about this move is just the way how it controls space. And of course, your tracking block string will be, I mean, from mid-range, of course, it's your 4 PP string, so 4 PP K or 4 PP charge P right there. So, I mean, 4 PP, of course, it's good when it hits, gives you a plus 20 stun. If you just do the first hit, you get like plus 16, even though under most circumstances, you're just generally going to be doing 4 PP, like so. If you actually like a move that's similar to 4 PP that kind of complements it too, there's Hitomi's kind of like double gut punch move thingy, P plus K. Alright, on normal hit, yeah, this move is kind of negative, but it's similar to 4 PP. It's similar to 4 PP except for it's considerably faster. It's 14 frames, so it's a 14 frame mid. So essentially, when you're like around mid-range, anytime you think that the opponent's like gonna come at you and you want to like get like a gut punch, you can end up using like this move right here. You see the third punch? Or I should say, if you do P plus KP, then the third hit will end up giving you plus 20. So this is a good move, and of course, the last hit can be charged for potential guard break or blast back moves. So P plus K is also a nice move for... It's basically a nice poke around mid-range, but it's mainly for when you think the opponent's going to be kind of approaching, then you can like smack him with this. P plus K is preferably maybe slightly closer than like 4 PP just because of the speed difference. H plus K is another good tracking move from around like mid-range. Again, it's like safe on block, pretty solid range, over 2 meters, about the same range as like 6H plus K. So basically this move directly kind of complements H plus K and of course 2H plus K. 2H plus K doesn't go necessarily quite as far, but it's just right here. So you have your low, you have your mid, and you have a high track move. So essentially, you basically can do a very good job of telling the opponent, don't sidestep on me, just don't. 4-6K is also a great track and high from mid-range right here. This move is very similar to PPK right here. So 4-6K gives you a guaranteed 2-3-6P afterwards, whereas 4-6P occasionally may not reach, so 2-3-6K or 2-3-6P is a safer bet. And of course, for the primary reason why most people play Hitomi in the first place, the Deathfists. If the opponent whiffs anything in front of you, if you're uncertain of what whiff punish you want to do, just Deathfist, 2-3-6P, or 4-6P. Long range at Hitomi is another place where she likes to be. Alright, depending on your situation or your playstyle or your kind of gameplay intention or anything, if you're at long range with Hitomi, you're going to have basically two focuses. You're either going to want it to be that wall of pain, so you're going to focus on Hitomi's strong Keepout, or you're going to be focusing on, let's say for instance you have a life deficit as opposed to a life lead, you're going to be looking at trying to find ways necessarily to try and get in on your opponent. Alright, I'll just say straight off the bat that Hitomi's movement is excellent. Her Korean backdash is pretty strong. So I mean, her generic 4-4-6-6 or back forward movement is also really good. So Hitomi's really good at kind of like getting away in a hurry if you need to. So she doesn't have any special like stances. She just has like the generic kind of 3-3 wave dash or Korean backdash. So Hitomi relies entirely on generic movement. But luckily her generic movement is really good. I mean, hovering around mid-range to long-range with Hitomi is a perfectly fine thing. Hell, you could, as long as you have a life lead, you could spend majority of the match in this range and Hitomi will be fully comfortable. Your long-range pokes will comprise of H plus K, right here, the get out kick. Right, this move is great at long range. If you're focusing around your keep out wall of pain style, then H plus K is your high, 6H plus K is your mid. So both of these can be thrown out pretty freely because they're like safe on block. They're not really terrible on whiff. Either if the opponent ends up getting close enough, then you can start using 3K. But of course, if they whiff anything in front of you, like I just said, same thing for mid-range. If you whiff anything, this move will annoy the hell out of them. I mean, this is 4-6P. Right here is your fast 12-frame Deathfist. Look how much space it ends up creating when you smack the opponent. Look at that range. I mean, 2.14 meters for a 12-frame move. That move is great. All right, now your mid-Deathfist, 2-3-6P. This move also blasts. This thing is blast the opponent even further. Look at that. Look at that knockback. 4 meters. Look at that knockback. And the opponents, they get hit by this once, they're instantly at the back of the screen, and then you go back to maintaining your wall of pain. So, I mean, right here, the Deathfists are just really good. Honestly, like, what's their weakness? I mean, yeah, they don't track, but you see, they're minus 9 on block, so essentially you have to pretty much reserve it for whiff punishing because it's a minus 9 on block with no follow-ups. So, I mean, if you want your safe pokes, I mean, then you just have your 6 H plus K, your H plus K right there. But, I mean, like, again, I mean, any opportunity you have to chuck out a Death Fist, I mean, just make use of it. This move is also an amazing, interrupt move also. I mean, 12 frames, 60 damage in close hit, that is just nuts. If you're at a life deficit and need to get in on your opponent, so basically you can't rely on a keep out style anymore, then essentially what you're going to do is use your good generic movement to try and inch in from long range to mid range. Once you're in mid range, you can start to poke with 3K, or for a high, you can poke with your jab string. So right here, once you get to your jab range and you're close enough to try and sneak in like PP 2K, PP 6B 2K, PP 6B K, or like PP 6P P. So basically, like any variations of strength to keep the opponents in check. So the safe way is to just simply do like PP. So from long range, your objective to go from long range, mid range, then you go to jab range, 6K range, 1K, like 2K. Well, 2H plus K is a little slower, but if the opponent's like not sure of what you're doing, occasionally what you can do once you know the opponent's going to be on the defensive is try and sneak in 6K 2K. So this is like the mid-low right here. Like 6K's okay to chuck out on the opponent's block. Again, on paper it's like minus 13, but again, follow-ups. And if the opponent whiffs something big, then you can even implement 4 P plus K into your move right here. This is another move that the opponent doesn't want to get hit by and doesn't want to block either. Let's take a look at Hitomi's Okizeme right now. Alright, I just showed you in the little like previous demonstration that you can use Hitomi's 6 H plus K as a meaty. So whether this move gets blocked or hit, you're advantaged, so it's good. The only thing that you're really going to be concerning yourself with then are Okizeme tech rolls and like mid wake up kicks to a lesser extent. But in general, that's usually when you're going to be applying that move because it's way too slow to be used as a neutral tool, otherwise at 37 frames. But yeah, that move can be used as an occasional meaty. With regards to Hitomi's Okizeme, in general, what you're going to be doing is stuff like, let's say if you were to ground someone with a hard knockdown like 3H plus K, then you could do 1K, 1K, then right now you're at plus 22. Alright, plus 22, your meaty can be used, or you're kind of enforce and frame advantage afterwards can be like 3H plus K. You can use 3H plus K, 3K, 2H plus K, just dash and throw, or of course, always a personal favorite, dash up 6T right there. So when you know the opponent's blocking, then this move right here becomes your best friend. In general, moves like 1P or 1K are going to be your like force tech moves. I mean, you have to check first to make sure you have the range. Like 1K in general has better range than like 1P, but 1K of course is 2 frames slower. So you have to like keep that in mind, like see like what can reach for instance, and then you end up like seeing how much frame advantage you have. So like, when you tend to force tech with a 1K, then you tend to like you commonly can leave yourself at plus 22. So plus 22, you can basically almost enforce it's like almost kind of any kind of move, but having the mix up between like 6H plus K or 2H plus K is usually a good go-to. You can also end up setting up like a force tech, for instance, off of Hitomi's bound. Let me show you. For dealing with wake up kicks, 3H plus K or 9K are really good for dealing with them, but if you don't want to deal with either the mid or the low wake up kick, do a little backdash, then just do 4 P plus K and smack the opponent across the room. 8H plus K is also really dangerous against low wake up kicks. Hitomi's throw game is fairly strong, and it complements her rushdown style of play very well. Alright, I'll just go over the throws. This is as a bit of a formality. There's a 5-frame throw, 47 damage. Here's a 7-frame block punish throw, 53 damage. Her 10-frame throw is a 2-part throw where during the blue combo throw, just press the throw button, and then you get 70 damage total. And her 12-frame throw, this is the throw used to punish holds, does 66 damage, so on high counter, that will be like almost 100. Yes, it's 98 damage. So when you do get the opponent back into the corner, this throw 333 basically becomes the lunch money throw. Right here, 114 damage for stealing your opponent's lunch money. Oh, and of course there's one other 7-frame throw that I haven't gone over yet. That's right, the knee to the head 60. This is basically your go-to throw for like almost everything apart from, of course, 3-3-T when you need the damage. So with 60, anytime you have the opponent on the defensive or anything like that, you try and sneak in this throw. It's 7 frames, so this is not reactable. So even something as simple as like punch, throw, punch, punch, throw. You can sneak this in. So when you have the opponent kind of on the defensive and respecting your delays, for instance they're blocking, then you could try to like sneak this in at different times. After the opponent does get hit by this, you're at plus 10. So 6H plus K is your go-to after this. Other stuff that you can do is just simply a PP. Right here, you get 6PK. So if you do like 6PKK, the point of this string is to try and keep the opponent blocking or trying to condition them to duck, and then they get opened up for your mitts. So, but generally trying to hit this throw as many times as you can in a match without getting, well, high counter blown by the opponent calling you out is usually a good objective. Here's some shenanigans. Hitomi's hold game is pretty average. Like right there is just her high. Right there is just her high punch hold. So the damage is like fairly consistent. Alright, right there, so it's like 68 damage even though that was on counter hold. So just normal will be about 55. Right there, so let's see the mid punch hold. Alright, also 68 on counter hold. Too early. Alright, 55 if normal, so like the same as a mid punch. And now low hold. Alright, 55 also, and all of these leave the opponents like close to you. She actually also has an expert mid-punch hold. Alright, so you get an extra 5 damage from a normal one, so 60 as opposed to 55, so it's like, both of them end up switching sides also and leaving the opponent relatively close by, so you might as well just do like the... You might as well just do the expert punch hold regularly if you're able to and just get like the extra damage, because 60 would end up being 90 on high counter. Alright, the kick holds can actually vary a little bit. Alright, the high kick hold is basically just like the punch holds. So right there, at least the opponent close by would end up doing like 68 or the 55 damage if you just get it normally. But the mid kick hold and the low kick holds are a bit more unique. For instance, the low kick hold gives you 40 damage plus plus 5. So you basically get like frame advantage over your opponent. With plus 5 plus back turn, it might as well be like plus 10, but it's not enough frame advantage to get anything guaranteed, but you do get like control over the opponent more or less. And with the mid kick hold, alright, the standard mid kick hold is basically just like the other hold, so you get 55 damage. And this one switch sides, but it gives you a little bit more space than the other holds. But the main thing about Hitomi is her expert mid kick hold. See right here, this is her only launcher hold, her only hold that actually can start combos. To help with Hitomi on defense and dealing with those pesky 9-frame jabbers, Hitomi has her high block, her high parry, just inputted with 9H. Alright, this move has 12 active frames as opposed to a defensive hold's normal 18 active frames. Right here, so it's a smaller window, but it beats out all high punches or mid punches, for instance. Whether you parry a mid punch, or let's say, for instance, a high punch, you get the same advantage. You get plus 7. So with plus 7, you'll use similar follow-ups to, for instance, if you end up hitting someone with like a 6T, for example. The difference is that with the plus 7, your 6H plus K is going to be too slow to beat out like a jab, for instance. So after this, you'll have to just use your quick pokes. Like if you're afraid of like sidestep or anything like that, then you could use H plus K. It's 17 frames, so you see right there, it'll beat out most jabs. Like with 9-frame jabbers, you'll more or less will have to stick to like quick pokes. If you're uncertain, you can if they're gonna push a button, you can also use 1P. Though in general, the 3K string is quite good here also. Hitomi at a wall is pretty simple. Deathfist number 1, Deathfist number 2. If you want to keep the opponent at the wall, then you'll just use forward throw. If you want to get your damage, then you do 3-3-T, which is particularly great if you can end up like baiting the hold or anything like that. If you want to get the small wall splat, then you can do counter hit 3K. This can also work, for instance, off of a break blow, like so. And you can also use 6 H plus K, and both of those mid kicks will give you the small wall splat. After a wall splat, you can fault by just simply doing KP, or you can use the Fatal Rush. If you want some pressure strings for keeping the opponent in the corner, your jab strings or your like 6B, 6K, so your elbow or knee strings or your 3K strings are perfectly fine and quite good. 2H plus K is also good for additional low pressure. And of course 2P. When the opponent has their back to Citizen Assist, the Deathfists are still really good for just simply blasting the opponent into it. And then any of your launchers are usually fair game, so like your mid-punch launcher, mid-kick launcher, your hop kick, so 4H plus K, or like 7K. I'll let you know that the high launchers like 7K or 4H plus K don't really set up your bound as well. For instance, as your 3-3-P, if you want to like bound your opponent like that. So your 3-3-P, of course, again, is your best launcher. If you'd like to just continue to stun, of course, 3P is good for that. If you want a high move, 9P is good for that, and of course, 9P is also a launcher. Alright guys, that's it for now. Okay, so when you're hanging back and turtling, use your Keepout tools. Build that wall of pain. And when you're in close range, you basically become Bully Hitomi. Once again, I'd like to thank Smart Esports and Trollcoin for endorsing this video. And as always, if you like this video, smash that like button. If you didn't like this video, just hit the like button even harder, and don't forget to subscribe for more juicy fighting game content. In particular, I have a lot of DOA guides, both beginner and advanced guides, and basically character guides for essentially the entire cast. And also, I'd like to take this moment to thank my premium top tier fighters for their continued support, which I do appreciate. If you'd like to become a premium top tier fighter yourself, click on the Patreon link down below. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me on my YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. So that means leave in a very delightful comment down below. You can also contact Force Nature on freestepdodge.com. Also, I would also like to take this moment to give a big thanks to an amazing Hitomi player, Lord Xavier, for giving me just some tips and a bit of an overview for Hitomi. I mean, check his Hitomi out. It kicks serious ass. Anyways, this is Force Nature signing off. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time on Top Tier Tips.
Winner! How was my fighting? Want to do it again?